I actually really love to talk about this in the right way, in the right platform,
Mhm.
because the relationship between a husband and wife has been created to be the most intimate relationship that we have on earth. And when I walked into our marriage, I was not I was not able to get completely intimate and chasing him because I had different things in my past. Like we probably all do, but the things that I had, it was hindering me from giving my all of myself to Mark. And so you have to walk through how to figure out how to do all of that. Um, if I can summarize it all and kind of just give one point on what helped, it was making a decision on how I'm going to respond to this friction of this is supposed to be the most intimate and beautiful experience between a husband and wife. It's meant to draw us closer, help us to bond. It's meant to just help empower us as a team. It's supposed to be authentically giving me all of myself and my spouse giving all of themselves to me. And right now, because of whatever that's behind me, it's making me feel like I don't even want to go there.
Well, welcome to Pillow Talk. I'm Grant. This is my wife, Stephanie. And after almost 38 years of marriage, we've discovered how to communicate for better understanding and yoke our differences to pull stronger toward a common purpose.
As certified marriage coaches, we want to help reignite passion and connectedness in your marriage through intimate, authentic, and unguarded conversations. Now let's have some pillow talk.
Let's do it. All right. Welcome to Pillow Talk. You know, the last few weeks we've been really blessed with some really great couples. This week will be no different. Are you excited?
I am.
Fantastic. So there's one thing that I can say about this couple is if you were going to look up the word kind in the dictionary, their picture would be there. I've never met a person yet that just didn't talk about how wonderful they were and how much they enjoyed spending time around them. So this is going to be great. They've developed programs to help meet the dire need that we have in society today, and that's the revelation of purpose. They're touching men and women as they seek to answer the question, why am I here? And, you know, if you can find them on their name. I really struggled with this one, Mark. You're going to have to help me here, but it's just Purpose Mastermind.
Right now, the website is markdelaney.com.
Mark Delaney.
Probably within a week or two, purposemastermind.com will also be up and functioning.
Perfect. Okay. So that's good to know. Well, today we're so honored to have you guys on Pillow Talk, and we look forward to having an intimate and authentic and unguarded conversation that we know will lead us towards ending that frustration through better communication that so many couples need. So Mark and Delaney, Mark and Adena. You know, that's really hard to say. Mark and Adena Delaney, welcome to Pillow Talk.
And we don't cut nothing out, so you will be hearing all that.
It's great to be here. Can we just go back to the part about being kind? Because twice in the last month, one guy said I was pleasant, and you said I was kind, and I rarely get anything like that from people, and I really like that.
So you want us to kind of enhance that a little bit more throughout this podcast?
Yeah, if we can just build on
really
that.
Just build on that. Okay. Maybe then it's Adena that's the kind one. Maybe that's what people are talking about.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah. So if you would, just take a moment, introduce yourself to the audience, and let us know what you're doing and a little bit about yourselves.
We're living a crazy, amazing, scary life, just jumping in to help people find their purpose, and we just embrace what
Things just got
just
quiet.
really.
There you go. Start again.
Okay.
Okay, you cut out for some reason.
All right. We are excited about living life together. We are in this mission together, and we're helping people find their purpose. And we just absolutely love the freedom that we see people gaining from this. It's amazing what you can do with just a few conversations. And personally, we just became grandparents. We had 2 grandbabies born in September, about 12 hours apart. So we got a double dose.
Wow, congratulations.
Yes, well, thank you. It's so exciting to get to have the babies over every once in a while. And we just love being a part of our boys and their wives and their kids, their families. And, it's a reminder to keep chasing after the things that are important and prune the things that are holding you back.
Yeah, that's a Very good insight right there.
Yeah.
That'll preach.
Yeah, so it's fun. We love the topic of purpose. I love how you guys talk about forever with purpose, because without purpose, forever sounds awful.
Oh, yeah.
And anything we're doing in life without purpose, really, whether it's a job or even a hobby or certainly marriage, like if there's no purpose, what's the point? It's so exhausting.
Yeah.
And then things don't go well, and then we just talk about the problems forever. So I like how you guys approach, like, let's go back to the purpose of what this is all about. It's so much more of a powerful conversation than diving into all of the problems that have existed.
Oh, definitely. You know, it's just like if you're working towards something instead of away from something, it seems like life is just better. You know, gives you a better outlook and
More energy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
you know. My question would be, you did not pick the easiest of avenues to get into. Why marriages?
I'm, you know, if you find something awesome in life, you have to share it. If you go to a restaurant and it's the most amazing thing you've ever experienced, you tell someone about it. I would say that we help people with marriage because we know what people can experience and we're desperate for them to have it.
Yeah, we first experienced it, and now we don't want to be selfish. We want to help other people to have it too, because it really honestly takes a lot of time to learn things on your own. So we just want to help people speed up the process.
That is excellent. Well, I know many people are being blessed by that. And could you just take a moment and kind of share what the Purpose Mastermind is? And
Yeah, Adena and I, basically our entire adult life has been helping people know how to live life. Of course, we've been doing it ourselves as well, like figuring out how to live life. And, you know, the years and years and years that we were teaching basically kids, most of it we were teaching about the Bible and how to understand life, how to live. And the longer I taught eighth graders, I'm like, I am an eighth grader. Everyone's an eighth grader. Like that's about what we all are. You know, we're not. The more I taught them, I'm like, I'm not any different than them. I'm teaching them what I need to do. And so the Purpose Mastermind is something that grew out of our life. We didn't ever plan it. It just kind of happened, and we just keep doing it. And it's become this thing that's taken on a life of its own, really. We don't have, you know, both of us would probably rather be Walmart greeters than do what we're doing, because we don't really have an entrepreneur spirit. We really don't like being our own boss. I'm not a good boss. I don't like building a business, but I am probably addicted to people knowing their purpose. And that's the goal of the Purpose Mastermind, is people knowing their purpose, because I think we struggle with this ourselves in our own lives. If we don't know our purpose, I think the default setting for a human being is to spend our life either regretting our past or focusing on our problems. And both of those things are very horrible things to dwell on every day. If I wake up every day thinking about my past or my problems, it's hard to live with any potential or power. But if someone knows their purpose, you got something to do every day. In spite of the fact that you have a bad past, and in spite of the fact that you have problems, you can wake up and say, but I got purpose. And purpose covers past, and purpose covers our problems. So let's go.
And it helps to release us of the magnetic hold that those things just seem to just have on us. And it doesn't seem like we're ever going to get free of those things. And so we want to help people to realize it's not as hard as you think. And it's in the life of freedom is worth what it takes to get to there. It's a completely different way of living. It's a completely different way of experiencing life. And it just feels peaceful and free.
I love that you use the word freedom. I just think that marriage we kind of talk in that lane, is the one place where complete freedom should be experienced. However, there does seem to be, we're talking about the different mindset. You mentioned being, living in the past or being problem focused, and there seems to be a mindset problem with that, doesn't there? That, we can't live in freedom because we're looking for something that's not there, because we're always looking through that lens of past or problem. And so what do you advise? What can we do as marriage coaches to help couples start to have better conversations about sex, desires, fulfillment, intimacy in general? How does that conversation start in the realm of purpose as a married couple?
A big question. I wish we had a campfire in about 3 hours. This is why people don't, I'm convinced that people don't need their problems to change. They need the thinking they have about their problems to change. And when the thinking changes, then the problems change. I think that the area of sexuality, it absolutely exposes the deepest pains and deepest fears of our life.
Absolutely.
And when that happens in marriage, we're like, oh no, my past is showing up in my marriage. Kinda. But it's showing up to be healed from it. Yeah. And it's so interesting because with our work with couples, you see it a lot where someone in that, or both of them, had something happen in their past that was the most painful moment in their life. And now they're married to someone, and the physical act is very, very, very similar to the worst moment in their life. And in human instinct, it's like, well, I need to avoid this. I don't want reminded of the worst day of my life, so I need to avoid this. And so that's where sexuality between a husband and wife can be destroyed at that moment, because it feels like I need to protect myself from the worst day of my life, and the easiest way to do that is if we're never naked together again.
Yeah, so good.
But I think that the problem in marriage, that problem is exposed, not so that we're reminded of our past, but so that we can be set free from our past.
Exactly.
So that's the beautiful work that marriage brings us face to face with, is we can be set free from our past instead of living our whole life haunted by it.
Yeah. I know a couple of years ago, it seemed like every church podcast, anything you listen to, the word vulnerable would come up. And it's, you need somebody to be vulnerable with. You need someone to be vulnerable with. And I guess because we have such a really magnificent marriage, I just almost rebelled against it, because I'm like, I don't need that. And the reason was I had it. And, whenever we have someone that we can literally bare our soul to, to be naked with it all, in every aspect, it all of a sudden, it's like, I don't care about guys' night. In fact, I won't go because I have everything I need when I get home. And I'm not faulting anybody. Men that love guys' night, more power to you. Run and go camping. I'm not sleeping on a hard ground next to a man when I can sleep in a soft bed next to my wife. It's not going to happen. That's just me. Okay.
Say it again.
So it doesn't work. But the other day we were discussing, when I called you, it was funny. I called Mark up and he says, I sure hope you're calling to ask me to lunch. It's like, not this time.
So we owe you a lunch, Mark.
Like. So we'll definitely have to go do lunch quick. But I discussed with you that, we were doing the 4 pillars. And when I mentioned physical intimacy, I was shocked you jumped on the opportunity to kind of discuss that. And one of the reasons I was shocked that you jumped is because coming out of the church world, it's almost a taboo subject, So what can we do to make it where it's not taboo in church? And I'm not talking about from the pulpit, but just the discussion.
I actually really love to talk about this in the right way, in the right platform, because the relationship between a husband and wife has been created to be the most intimate relationship that we have on earth. And when I walked into our marriage, I was not able to get completely intimate and chasing him, because I had different things in my past, like we probably all do. But the things that I had, it was hindering me from giving all of myself to Mark. And so you have to walk through how to figure out how to do all of that. If I can summarize it all and kind of just give one point on what helped, it was making a decision on how I'm going to respond to this friction of, this is supposed to be the most intimate and beautiful experience between a husband and wife. It's meant to draw us closer, help us to bond. It's meant to just help empower us as a team. It's supposed to be authentically giving me all of myself, and my spouse giving all of themselves to me. And right now, because of whatever that's behind me, it's making me feel like I don't even want to go there. Like I'm going to give whatever I can, and it might be 25%. It's definitely not going to be uninhibited, chasing after him kind of stuff. So for me, that one thing is I found that if I will make a decision to respond in that, even that moment when you're being intimate, like I'm going back to the very earliest days when we were married, when we were just young in our 20s, I chose not to focus on the things that were in my past that were very real. And in that moment, I made a decision to chase after him. Because when I chase after him, remember how I said earlier, you decide what you're going to chase, decide what you're going to prune. I really live by it. What do I want to chase? I want to love this guy. I want to ferociously chase after him and give him all of my love. And I want to have an uninhibited love with this guy.
And I like that too.
Bet you do.
I think that the topic in the church has got to change. We've got to stop talking about pornography and start talking about being free in our relationship with our spouse.
So good.
I agree.
We are talking, I'm telling you, when I talk about pornography, I refer to them as the screen people. The screen people. Everyone is fixated on the screen people, and the real people are losing. Mm-hmm. And you have a lot of marriages where, let's say, in lots of cases, the wife is like, "You're not watching pornography, are you?" And the man is fixated on, "I hope I don't watch pornography." And so we're all thinking about the screen people. Mm-hmm. We're just not creating anything great between us.
There's no space for it when we're chasing after the screens, and
we're either afraid of someone watching pornography, or we're trying to get ourselves to not watch pornography, and we're all distracted, and we're not creating anything powerful between us, so that we don't have to think about the screen people at all.
So good.
Like we can have the real thing in our real life instead of fighting over what the screen people are doing. Mm-hmm. So I'm tired of talking about the screen people, when the real people need to be swinging from the chandeliers together in powerful love
people. Yeah.
I'm tired of talking about the screen people. Mm-hmm. I think they're laughing at us because we're all fighting about it. We're just not having the real experience of powerful love together that we can have.
And it's in our nature to chase after the things that we're afraid of. Mm-hmm. It's like whatever we're afraid of, we have to address, we have to put time into it. And and there are real concerns. So I'm not saying that there aren't concerns, but how are we handling it? Are we totally thinking all the points in our day about how to avoid this or how to make sure this doesn't happen? If we have a heart posture of chasing after the things that fear is driving us towards, that existence is junk. It is not fun, or it's no way that I want to live. So what can we do? Like, we've got to figure out how we can work on whatever is in front of us that's hard. And right here, we're talking about the screen people and intimacy. What can we actually invest our energy into that will get us somewhere where we really want to be? Well, it's a whole different kind of courage of just saying, you know what, I'm going to chase after this guy. I'm going to give him everything that I have. And when he gives me all of himself, it just makes everything in our lives better, because we both had times when we didn't give ourselves completely to each other. I mean, we thought we were, but we weren't. And when we both decided to just give ourselves completely to each other, it made every aspect of our lives just have, I don't know, like this superpower. And it just changed everything to this place that I didn't even know existed.
That's beautiful. It makes me think, as you're talking there, it sounds like you have a healthy marriage, because you're focusing on, how do I support my marriage? How do I support this intimate relationship? And it makes me think of a healthy body. If you support your body and it's healthy, then you're doing way more support and way less defending off the viruses, right? Yeah. A healthy body will defend off the virus. A healthy marriage will defend against these things like the screen people. Okay. Instead of focusing on that, then when you're focusing on strengthening and building up a healthy marriage and whatever that looks like for you as a couple, then you're going to be able to, over time, have a healthy marriage immune system, I guess, right?
Yeah. I love that way of thinking. That's awesome.
Yeah. I know, I think true fulfillment will keep you from looking for, the screen people, or, I know in our marriage, it just seems like the more you do it right, the less everything else matters, I actually mentioned this on a podcast the other day, but we were driving to Oklahoma City, and I just looked over at Steph and I was like, the wife is it's usually wife versus the male, and this, not always, but usually, like, why won't you leave me alone? Quit chasing me all the time. I'm washing dishes. That ain't that sexy. It's like, oh yeah, it really is, but when you're having just sex, he's going to come back and knock on your door every few minutes, or he's going to look for the screen people, But when you're giving everything to each other, you leave that bedroom fulfilled. And when you're fulfilled, you don't knock on the door as often, Yeah. And it was better, but you don't feel like you have to just keep repeating it and that's what it is. People think all men want is sex, and it's like, no, all we want is our spouse.
Yeah.
We want all of them.
Yeah.
Men want to be wanted.
I almost wear it as a badge that we shouldn't want that.
Yeah. No, it's, if you and I were golfing together, and on the third hole, you said, "Man, Mark, I'm so glad you could golf today. This is so much fun." How would you feel if I said, "Well, Grant, I just felt it was the right thing to do"?
I felt like it was my duty. It was my duty to come golf with you today.
I just, I wanted to just serve you. It's like, no, you want to know that person, like, man, I want to golf with you. I can't wait to golf with you. And when people experience that sexually with each other, like, I want you. And when they say, I want you to you, it's like, it's so fulfilling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so good.
And so this is why, the people who make the screen people, they produce the screen people wisely, because the screen people always really want it. And when I talk to men, that's one reason they say they like it, is they at least get to see the image of what they want to experience in their real life, which is a woman really wanting him.
Wow, wives, did you hear that? That needs to be repeated. That needs to be like a slogan on a bumper sticker. Women want your man.
Yeah. And if we want our man, then they don't have to run to that. I mean, like, if sex was created to be within the marriage, like, what can we do to just totally uninhibitedly chase after our men? And I mean, hey, have fun, like, go after it and just give yourself. And there are so many different scenarios in life where you could decide to pull back or give less or whatever. But if you invest in the number one relationship here on this earth, it feeds all the other relationships. And I love how you said, Grant, that, if you do it right, it's so satisfying. It's like a really good meal, to go back to the health analogy as well. If it's a really good meal, it's going to be really satisfying. But if it's a bag of potato chips, I'm still going to be hungry when I'm done.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, that is so good.
That was excellent. Yeah, it's I don't know if you've heard of the Ultimate Intimacy podcast, but I'd highly advise you go watch it or listen to it. No, you could watch it too. We just actually interviewed them. But they have an app, and it's for married couples. And I mean, everything in the world you can think of. I mean, from, products to everything, but it's very tasteful. It's a safe place. One of the cool things I thought is, I've done this, is why I'm going to bring this up. I have sent Stephanie a really raunchy text, and it didn't go to Stephanie.
It didn't come to me.
Oh my!
I mean, I sent it to the HR department, Mark, at work. I mean, oh dear God! And
so the intention was great.
Yeah, I was just trying to spice
human resources.
Human resources. Well, they've got where you can text each other back and forth, and it's in total private. There's no danger. If you're on that app, you don't have to worry about it.
It's just you and your spouse, so it's really cool. It's just a really neat place.
Really a cool
to
deal.
Chase your spouse, like you said, to just chase and to run after and desire and just to give yourself to each other in a way that's, totally safe and totally beautiful, because it's just you two. It's not looking at something on the internet. It's nothing like that.
Yeah. And another thing that, it's a real benefit when you do it right is when the other one's not in the mood, you can be way more accepting of it. Mm-hmm. It's okay. It's, when it's the other way around, you're like, well, what if I never get it again?
Yeah, that's true.
And so I remember I used to go to bed so mad I couldn't stand it, just because she said, not tonight. How about tomorrow? But we wasn't doing it right. I mean, it was all about me, but once you start realizing, man, we jump in this together, she'll be back. She's coming back. I mean, it may be a day or two longer than I wanted it to be, but she's coming back. Yeah. And so it's just amazing what a good, healthy relationship.
Yeah. But we got to stop being afraid of the topic.
Yeah.
With each other. We got to stop being afraid of it. Okay.
You mentioned earlier that everything in the earlier years has always been around kids. And what do you think? Do you think we're too protective of our kids as far as just that conversation in the family? And I'm not talking about being brutal, like, hey, me and mom's fixing to head in here, you all watch TV, but I mean, it's almost like we create the taboo with, like, we're not discussing this at all, or we're not going to be really affectionate towards each other.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. I've never really even thought about that.
I think at the core, your kids need to just see and watch you guys love each other. And with that, I mean, the outside the bedroom level.
Yeah. You don't want to put a glass door on the bedroom. Yeah,
right. But I mean, I think, our kids are all adults right now. And I would say the thing that I love the most is that they know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we love each other. So we lived life, we had problems, we had lots of different seasons, all sorts of busyness, job changes, whatever, and they know through it all that we loved each other. I think that is the most important for them to see. And then I would also say is to cultivate an atmosphere where they can come and ask any questions if they have them. And then there's an open door for us to kind of do, not like if my husband wants to sit down with one of the boys and just have a man-to-man conversation, that's going to be kind of like why not just go out and play Frisbee golf and just talk a little bit while you're out there? Let it be something where you can say something casually to just kind of check in, or the kid, it can go both ways. Like, keep that door open and show them that you're approachable.
I love it.
The
Just
one
that
phrase,
dialogue.
thinking back, because my sons are older now, but thinking back, once every month or two, I would simply ask them this question: how's your love life? And that was a way of opening up a can of worms gently. It was a very broad topic that could go into, are you falling in love with anyone? Are you falling in love with someone you shouldn't be falling in love with? But also can tap into anything else under that category of love and intimacy. But that was a way of me being able to bring up the topic in a way that was maybe a little easier for them to delve into with me.
Gently opening up the can of worms. That's
But I'll say
great.
this, the thing about marriage, obviously what we do in front of our kids is a big deal. But what happens behind closed doors with a couple privately absolutely impacts the kids. Mm-hmm. There's a law. There's some kind of law in play here with this that I can't explain. But what we think we can hide from our kids, we can't hide. Mm-hmm. If we're pretending to be in love, that might work when they're 6 and 8. At some point, they start smelling it.
Yeah.
And it's just shown. If we don't have a love life in secret, that will show up in ways that maybe it doesn't seem connected, but it will show up.
That's so good.
You know, while we were talking about this, I just know that, like, there are times when I'm just like things are just off, you know, I don't know. And then if I realize that we haven't connected as much lately, and especially intimately, it's like if we take time to be intimate, chasing each other the right way, like I just am more settled. And if we were to just pause for a moment and say, what do you do when you're settled versus when everything's kind of off or weird or you're tense or this? When I'm settled, I make better decisions. I handle conflict better. I handle decisions better. So I want to make sure that I'm chasing him enough to, it just like, it has so much of a domino effect between just us, between the kids, between everything I do. If we're not having the right kind of bonding time, you know, the preliminary stuff, the actual intimate behind closed door stuff, if we're not having enough of that, my world isn't functioning the way I want it to be. So that, I just had to say that.
No, that is so good. And I think that needed to be said. I think that, you know, that's a symptom. When you see a symptom of what you just said, you're unsettled, you're anxious, you feel chaotic, you know, that's the first place you should check. That's the first thing is like, what's my intimacy in the bedroom like right now? Because even if the act is being done, but you're disconnected, what you just said, you're going to be off. And I think that as a married couple, especially if you've been married for a while, you should definitely, that should be checked at the door. Like, okay, this is causing me it's affecting all areas of my life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like when things are clicking, there's a look in Stephanie's eyes that I would literally fight hell with a water pistol for. I mean, she can look up at me and it's just like, like you see all the way to her soul.
Yeah.
And when that look's not there, we tend to just, so what? What is she, you know, and you just let it bypass instead of realizing what you're really seeing is a dim fire that you need to find out, you know, what's their love language and you need to pour into that. Mm-hmm. And because like I get to missing the look and I don't even realize what I'm missing. But when you mentioned what you did there, it really kind of came to my attention. It's like, that is a signal that we need attention. Mm. You know, so everybody I'm sure has something, whatever it is that trigger that, you know, they say
recognition
that we just need to recognize it. And it's time for action, you know, and that doesn't mean it has to be physical. It, you know, be anything.
You know, as you say that, there's something that, like, when I'm trying to learn how to love Mark more, I mean, we've been married 30 years and I still chase after learning how to love Mark more because seasons change and everything. I like just a really quick something to focus on that is easy to say and ask at any point, and it helps. So like if I just say, hey, what's one way that I can love you better today? Or when I'm going to bed tonight, what's one way I can love you better tomorrow? I'm just asking it to just something within that to just open up the door for him to get to say, I've really, and then they get to say whatever they want. So what is a simple question you and your spouse can ask each other that literally says, I love you. I want to chase you. I want to know what is it that you are going through right now that I can do to support you, to invest into you, to believe into you, to champion you, to bring out the best version of you. What can I do? I love you. Tell me what it is I can do. And I just like to I don't want to guess all the time. I don't want to just do what always worked. I want to keep it fresh.
And I love, like you said, having that question where not only is it's giving them an opportunity that's safe. You're saying, hey, this is a safe space. If you need to share something, I'm in an emotionally good space right now to hear what it is that I can do differently and better to serve you. And I understand a season that you're going through, or I understand a difficulty. What can I do? And I think that is beautiful, Adena, just to have that, like you said, have that question ready, practice that, know what you're going to say so that your brain knows what you're bringing to the table, and it's not something you have to try to drum up or what's wrong. It's just what you said. How can I serve you better? How can I love you better?
It's being purpose focused, not problem focused. You can ask what's wrong or what can I do? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Instead of what did I do?
What did today?
Oh no, what did I do? No. Well, guys, this probably ought to wind this up, but I do have one final question. If you had I have a dream speech, how would it go?
I just think only 3 things in life matter: purpose, freedom, and love. Mm-hmm. If people have that, they have everything. And my dream is that people are able to embody. We just had 2 grandbabies. Mm-hmm. My dream is that they will embody with their life purpose, freedom, and love. Mm-hmm. Because if they have that, they have everything. That's my dream.
Beautiful.
Well said.
All right. Well, where can people find you?
MarkDelaney.com, and probably within a week, PurposeMastermind.com.
All right. Well, we can't thank you enough for being with us on Pillow Talk. We definitely have to do this again, and we're going to have to go grab some dinner or something. I think we could have some really good conversations.
We owe you guys some dinner.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, guys.
You bet. Thank you.